All right, so moving on now, let's finally talk about No Sudden Move, right? This is a Warner Brothers release. This is I should say, directed, photographed, and edited by Steven Soderbergh.
Right.
Soderbergh, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, not the biggest fan of him, but I mean, his filmography is incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just been cranking out, just hits after hits, basically. I mean, sometimes it might work, sometimes it don't, right? But I mean, there's no denying that, like, especially with his indie roots, I mean, he has just grown into like just
Yeah.
one of the greats, in my opinion, right?
Yeah. No, for
And
me,
there's just so much great films on his belt, though. Like quite recently, I think the last film that we covered from him was High Flying Bird,
I'm
from
Flying
from
Bird. Yeah,
2019.
which I love.
Yeah.
But I like almost always stuff, and the reason why I like his stuff is once you do a kind of any kind of crimey, well thought out thriller, heist kind of thing, it works. Like once you do anything involving that, yeah, you have me on board. And yeah, he does that really, really well. Can't be mad at any of those. So, yeah, I'm the opposite. I'm a big fan of this dude, mostly because of how incredibly competent he is. Even with not the best technology, or he will like do low budget filmmaking and make it work really well. Like one of my favorite of his that I was really shocked at was been so good. It was Unseen. Great, right?
Oh
Love that
yes,
film.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I forgot about that.
And the
Wow.
reason
Yeah.
and the reason why I like it so much is it does low budget editing tricks to convey like emotion and information. Love it. It works so well. And he uses an iPhone for a lot of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing with high flying bird. He uses an iPhone is a really wide lens. It's really strange. This film has one strange technical choice, and I can't really. I'm hard pressed to excuse it. 'Cause I'm not sure what the choice is, other than oh well, they used to do this back in the days when the time of this film was done, right? That's the only explanation I have for it. Like,
I
it,
picked up on it too. I thought I
yeah,
was the
it's
only one. Yeah.
because I thought it was like it was meant to be shown in panoramic screens or something like that. Like, but like that don't exist anymore. That long dead. But that's the only explanation I have for why this is true, because it's very noticeable. Like very noticeable. Because I was watching it, I was like, oh, something wrong with this. I watched it on my 14 inch on the 40-inch monitor, and I was like, something wrong with my monitor? I check in. I was like, oh no, it's the film. The film is deliberately shot like this. Okay, this is kind of strange. Um, other than that,
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this film. Um,
If you don't mind, you just wanna
yeah.
just a run through of what this movie's about.
Oh, right. So this is about Don Cheadle as Kurt. Oh God, was his last name, boy?
Kurt
Let me just
Goins. Kurt
yeah,
Goins.
let me just open up Wikipedia.
Oh,
I watched it a while now, so that's all. All right,
okay.
yeah, right, yeah. Kurt Goins, right. So he kind of had a bust out from he wanted to um leave town. Yeah, he had a little bit of cash. Leave town. He just want to get out of here. From Detroit. I can't remember what year it was exactly, but it's in the 50s, I think. Um, he
It's 1954, I believe it is. Yeah.
54, right? Oh, yeah,
Mid 50s.
mid 50s, right? Yeah. And, here's the thing. The only reason I pieced that together is because of the world building, and then what technology was where. And again, they got almost all of that accurate in terms of. I watched stuff like architecture and interior design just to get a sense of where it was and that. So I just assumed it. So yeah, again, right.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. Well,
And
for me, I was noticing how the title, the opening credits look. Could they have
right.
a specific 50s,
Yes.
film noir
Yes.
look to it, right? But I'll get to
Yes.
that in a.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love, I love the little small things. Anyway, so basically, he gets a little job, like a little, yeah, as usual, he had to put on a walk, and he meets this guy called Ronald Russo, and another guy named Charlie. Gets these kind of things, and then you have to just spend time sorting out this family. 3 hours in and out, 3 hours. That's it. And so they come in with the mask, these weird white masks, and they hold up this family, and they basically have to get the guy to go get like something in a safe, right? It's a little envelope. Not sure what it is. They say the envelope. The way it's talking about it, the envelope cost them like 50,000. And that's where I'm thinking, oh, the whole almost the entire movie gonna be about this heist, and they're gonna be sorting out this heist. Nope. It takes a really interesting twist, and then you find out the true nature of this envelope and what's going on, and that's where the story takes off. And I loved it. Right, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. noticeable thing about the film is the fantastic editing by
Yep.
Bernard,
Yep. Yep.
Marianne
Mhm.
Bernard. Yes, I thought she did a great job with the editing in terms of like the flowing of the story, how things move and transition from period to piece, information wise, storytelling wise. You know that normal thing where you're putting the vocals and the from the next scene in the previous scene to just illustrate the
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Little things
Yeah.
like that. Simple editing, but expertly done. Good technique. Absolutely love Don Cheadle. I thought his character was great. Yeah, he was just he just had his head on a swivel right through.
I
And
know, right?
when what happens to him, it's not that surprising, but you can understand why he fall for something like that, given how how conscientious and kind of borderline paranoid he is at times, right? Um, Benicio del Toro is pretty good in this. I really liked him. The big standout to me in terms of that little small guest roles, but they work totally, is Ray Liotta, Bill Duke, and I don't want to spoil it, but I think I'll spoil it by saying this. Matt Damon, right?
Yeah, I was like, I
Yeah,
watched
yeah,
yo
yeah,
like when he comes in, so I didn't
yeah,
do it, but when he comes in, like I watching his face and I watching his manners, and like, no,
yeah,
wait, hold up.
yeah.
Matt Damon was in this show, and I didn't even realize that.
Right. I didn't know
What?
at all because here's the thing. I don't remember seeing him in the trailer. But Matt Damon is doing guest roles and you don't know in the movie like Interstellar. He would just come in and like, hey, he just I would right. But when he said what he was saying and they revealed what the story is about, that's when everything fell together so well. And I was like, all right, this is an absolutely brilliant script in my opinion. I really, really love this story in terms of like what it was about. You totally understand why that envelope is worth so much. Like, oh shit, that Real Dread, dude, like it's a really great story. It makes perfect sense. From my standpoint, because I have a history of what my history is, it totally fall in line with me now. It's like, all right, yeah, I totally understand the story because I know the history of this and the story of it now. I don't know if I want to spoil it, but all I'll say is car engines. That's all I'll say, right? So it's a great little crimey, not really a crime script, but it's kind of a crime script if you think about it. And it's just all these forces and push and pulls and people back and forth, a lot of chicanery and a lot of countervailing forces bouncing off each other. And yeah, it's a great script that lines up really, really well. I really loved it. Um, yeah, this is probably one of my favorite films of the year.
All right, well, that's great to hear, actually, right? So for me, um, this is one that I don't love as much as you do, but I'll tell you why, and
Right.
it's such a simple reason. Please forgive me, but because it is a crime film, and I'm not saying that all of Soderbergh's films are convoluted or whatnot, right? But this is one that you definitely have to watch. Like you have to like be laser
Right.
focused on it, right? And because I was just
Okay.
going in kind of blind now, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to follow,
Right.
and it has like this twist tune kind of stuff now, which is fine,
Right.
right? But I know that there's a few things that are just sort of missed, right?
Oh no,
That
yeah. For
that's
me,
which is
I you know
understandable, right?
I have the same problem for films like but you see with films like this I don't need to know everything. Like I know it have little things I'm missing. Things like these little details are here there, but I can follow like main lines, main thorough lines. You're good.
Yeah,
Once
me too, me
once
too.
exactly, and
Yeah,
that's the whole thing about it. I'm sure I'll give it a second and third look and be like, I missed that and I missed that. But the main
right.
arcs work. It's a problem with this movie that I rate up so much, but it had the same problem. This Tenet now. Tenet have the same problem, right? A lot of convolution, but when you actually piece together what's going on, it's like okay, it mostly makes sense for the most part, right? Unless you want to nitpick some bullshit, right? It works. This is the same thing. There's a lot of moving parts, but all of the moving parts you could kind of ignore most of them. You can ignore most of them because like
Right.
okay, this is this. It really boils down to Don Cheadle's character and Del Toro's character. That's it. And then what happened with the money in the end? That's it. Right? Involved
Exactly.
with the money.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the main Toro line. Because there's a great line by Matt Damon character. We talk about rules. I
Oh,
love that.
I love
Love
that
that.
that moment.
Simple,
Love that moment.
simple,
Yeah.
yeah, simple set of dialogue. It works really well, and then it comes back full circle about what went on. It's like, wait, that real dread do. But then the ending is like a surprisingly good ending. It's like, okay, that's not bad. Like I like it, and I have no idea if this was a book or meant to be a book. I find it's too well written to be a script. Um, I don't know if it's a book. If somebody could tell me, great. But I just thought it was so well done. It's really well made. It's simple filmmaking. I won't go as far as saying classic filmmaking or anything like that. Just simple, simple story, relatively simple story when everything was said and done. But a lot of moving parts, and it comes together really well because that what I like about it. It has that working chaos. It's like it starts off simple, it ramps up in terms of the uncertainty of the situation, and at any time something could go up. And it really, to me, I was on the edge of my seat about it because I was like, I really don't know what's going to happen next at certain moments. I'm like, wait, boy, that real bad though. Like, oh, this is what it's about. Okay, that real clip, and it makes sense. Nothing about it felt far fetched or like bullshit or like, wait, that's a real stretch. Nothing. Everything about it worked, and the ending was a nice little tight bow. Like, yeah, okay. In the end of the day, this worked out, and it was a nice, well, kind of a nice ending, right? Bill Duke is great at this at the end. Like
Oh
that last
yes,
line
oh
is really,
yes.
especially that last moment of Bill Duke. I really thought, wait, my God, it your thing. You know what's surprisingly good in this? And I was watching his face, I was like, oh shit. But he had a little small role, but it was good. Karen Culkin, he was pretty
Yes,
good in
I
it. Yeah,
forgot he was in this movie. Like I
yeah.
saw the trailer a while back, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you in this?
And
Yeah, yeah."
I watching his face, I'm like, wait, like Macaulay, but like, oh right, Macaulay have a little brother, right? He in this, cool. I was like, because I didn't see the movie until seeing it since the trailer. So I saw the trailer a long time, and then I finally saw the movie, and I like, all right, I kind of forget everything now. So I like jumping, like, you're kind of jumping by kind. It's like a new Don Cheadle's in it. That's it. And so I was like, oh yeah, David Harbour in this, John Hamm in this, cool. Um, your girl from Uncut Gems, Julia Fox, she was good in this too.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
she was there.
she, had,
Yeah,
she had a
and
little
I
moment.
love what they did with her, with her
Yeah,
character.
yeah. When they reviewed it with the edit with it, it's like, yeah, that worked. I thoroughly loved this film. I didn't it probably will diminish in the back of my head, like when I start to think about it if I give it a second look. Or I'll probably be in a more silly mood. Or I think it's just a big mood thing. Like I'll just it's a while I haven't seen just really solid, competent filmmaking in a while. But we're gonna talk about the next film. And that also, put me in a good mood as well. Of just
Yes, yes, yes.
incredibly competent filmmaking. Like just
Yeah, yeah.
it's the pros. Everybody on the same page. At no point again a sense of amateur hour, which I had to keep excusing and be like, they go get better. Nah, this is the real deal. Love it. Absolutely
Well,
love this
rated one
movie.
time now before
Yeah,
I share
yeah.
my final thoughts.
I'll give it like a 9 out of 10. I have problems with it, and that one technical issue involving the lens thing, I really couldn't. Like, I had no reason. I didn't get why that was the way it was. Like, was he shooting on an iPhone or something? I couldn't really follow why it was the way it was. Because the thing is, High Flying Bird was shot on an iPhone, but no, High Flying Bird looked good. Like, High Flying Bird was fine. I don't know what was going on with that. Whatever. 9 out of
Yeah, yeah.
10. Absolutely love it. Not a perfect film. I have little nitpicky, but it's mostly like nitpicky things, kind of thing. But it's a really simple and competent film. I really it's a while I haven't gotten a good crime script, and it works. It works as a good gangster script, and then it gets into more deeper topics and ideas that really works and scratches that itch for me. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Loved it.
Yeah, well, for me, I agree with you for the most part. One thing I have to give Soderbergh credit for is that, while it does kind of have these subtle homages to like old school noir films, right? The title sequence, for example, very
Yeah,
much inspired from like old school, films of that era, right?
yeah.
But
It's
in
it's
no
very
way is he like is this is not like a pastiche. It's like, oh well, if you
right,
love the
right,
concrete, the asphalt jungle, and if you loved the Killing from Stanley Kubrick, which by the way there were bits well of moments where I felt it was like The Killing. That would be
right,
like the David Harbour's character being
right,
somewhat of like this weakling in a sense, you know what I mean, and being chastised all the time, like, you know what I mean, what kind of a man are you? That kind of vibe. Now I was picking up on that because the character in that same movie, The Killing, who moved just like that, right? But yeah, I like that it wasn't a pastiche of like old school cliches and formulas and whatnot. It was, the story that Steven wanted to make. He make it.
yeah,
He made it, historically relevant, which caught me by surprise. So I know for some people it might be like, well, why can't I just get my little crime film? Why you just had to make it out to be something that's much bigger? But that's the point. Is more
yeah.
than
Exactly.
just
It
the
escalated.
job.
Yeah,
It's more. Yeah, it's
yeah.
more than just grab the item and run. You know what I mean? There's more to it, and I like that. I really
Right.
do.
Yeah,
Um, I do agree with you. The cast is excellent in this though. Don
yeah,
Cheadle knocks it out the park. Benicio del
yeah,
Toro, out the park.
yeah,
David Harbour, out the park.
yeah,
John Hamm,
yeah,
out
yeah,
the park. really
right,
would. To the moment that he was there, out the park, right?
right. Yeah.
Brendan Fraser, out the park. Everybody
What
was
happens to
laughing
him?
out loud.
Yeah, what happens to Ray Liotta? I thought was like, wow, that shocked me. Because like
No, I
it made
watched it. When it happened,
it
I was
made
like, wait,
perfect
what?
sense though.
I ran
Yeah,
it back.
but it make perfect sense. Like,
It
oh, like
does.
that it's just a thread. It's not necessarily lining up with the main story, but at the same time, because of his character and who he is, yep, make perfect sense. That will happen to him. Like
It
it'll
did. It
yeah,
did.
exactly.
I did not expect, or maybe I just forgot from the trailer, or whatever, to see Bill Duke in this though. And when I see him, I
Right.
just
Yeah.
smile. When he
Yeah.
shows up, I won't say
Yeah.
where. I was just smile like,
Yeah.
yes, this
Yeah.
is what I want. This is
Right.
exactly what I want though.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. It is fantastically shot though, like flawlessly in my
Yeah.
opinion. The wide angle lens thing did catch me by surprise. 'Cause I was just like, well, yeah, but it feels like it just kind of like compressing the shot in a sense. You
Right.
when you see guys, you'll understand what we're talking about. But still, it's just
Right.
like, well, because I specifically don't remember like even like when shows that were in Technoscope or whatever it is,
Right.
made it to TV. They didn't have that era. They just sort
Exactly.
of move like kind of physically move the shot.
Yeah, that's
So it
with
wasn't
this
like
Pan Am.
everything was
No,
all squeezed together now.
no, but that's Pan and Scan. I mean, that's not
Right.
the same thing. What it did
Right.
here was kind of strange. Like I'm not sure what was why it looks so strange in our way. Anyway, whatever. It
It,
is
it,
a
it
little
could be a artistic decision though, but like I was trying to
right,
remember, like
but
I
I
know
see the point.
he used the iPhone in for unsafe and high flying bird, but I know you would have used a wide angle lens for both films,
Right,
obviously, right? It's an iPhone, duh, but still, like I don't remember shots looking like that in those films. But then again, I haven't seen those films since they came out, right? So I
right.
still think it's a creative choice. I don't know,
That's
maybe
that.
a video will come out and you'll explain why, right?
Yeah, I can't help but I can't think otherwise because it's like it's a choice, but I'm not sure. But it's like a choice that it kind of doesn't work. Right, so I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
and last, oh, sorry.
yeah, no, right. So that's the last point. It's very well, for lack of a better term, it's very Hitchcockian, right? It does the Hitchcockian thing, and it outright addresses something that Hitchcock talk about. I forget if I'm kind of paraphrasing, but the whole you don't go to the police because the police is boring. They
Yes,
came up
yes.
they came up with a great reason. The central conceit of the story is an excellent reason as to why you don't go to the police. I love that. I
Oh, yeah,
love that.
as you bring it up,
But
yes, you're right. You're
but
right.
it comes back full circle about like the working corruption of the situation because yes, the police is involved. Well, the FBI is, but you understand why it is that the bullshit fly for so long, right? I
Yeah,
really love the like when they reveal what the central conceit is and what it's about. I was like, all right, great script. I think I said this before, but yeah, that's
yeah,
why it
yeah,
works so well to me because it is such a large, big picture thing, and knowing the actual history of it is like, yeah, no shit, like that make real
yeah,
perfect sense that a small thing would escalate in this way, and you have all of this, jumping around and dancing around for something that you could have easily solved now.
right.
And yeah, and the entire time I'm wondering why does it not just do this? And then when they reveal what's going on, it's like, yep, it pays off. Totally makes sense. Loved it.
Right.
Yeah, nine out
Well,
of ten.
as you keep mentioning script, right? So the guy responsible is Ed Solomon, right?
Right,
He wrote the Bill and Ted, trilogy.
right.
Now You See Me, trilogy. Sorry,
Oh,
not
okay, right,
trilogy,
right, right.
duology and stuff like that. But I think that yeah, I mean, he just
No,
came through with a great script. So
no, all
so
the
well written though. And it's
yes,
very much reminiscent of those, yeah, just those classic noir films of the 50s and 60s
right,
and
exactly,
40s that I
right.
love it. I mean, I love that
Yeah,
genre. So
it's
it was
very
a nice fit for me. Yeah.
yeah, it's very French New Wave almost. Like it had that theme to it. It felt like stuff like Griffith or something like that. That kind of crime film where anybody up for grabs in terms of the gun. You're not sure
Yeah,
who
yeah,
could bear.
and nothing
Yeah,
plays out the way you expect
yeah,
at
exactly,
all.
exactly. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love. Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, well, yes, you loved it. For me, I really enjoyed this, but this is one because I so nitpicky with story. I just want to make sure I knew everything that went on.
Right, right,
If I knew like every single thing in it, I would have given this a 4.5. But for me, at the moment, strong 4. This is a high
right,
recommend. Definitely check this out. I could understand why a movie like this will get lost in the clutter though, because I believe there wasn't that much, big. There wasn't that big of a marketing push behind it though. Like
right,
there's a
exactly.
trailer. The trailer was awesome, but then after that, I didn't see anything else after that, and then the movie came out,
Right,
right? Literally at the beginning of this month, right? But I was glad I was able to check it out. I'm glad you actually reminded me of this. So I actually watched it a few hours before we met up here online, and yeah, this is one for sure that I'm gonna watch over, and I imagine this is one that will get better, like the famous, classic noir films of the past. This is one that's going to get better with more viewings, man. But
Yeah,
last thing last, I know for some people, especially those who not used to that genre, might find this to be a little too convoluted, like for its own good. But I would say it's not like intentionally convoluted, but it does have twists and turns and whatnot. But it's done very well, and it's all purposeful, and it adds a lot to the story. So it's not just there to just play with your head and be like, oh well, we're being smart, and we want to
right.
meet, we to treat you dumb. No,
Exactly.
no, no. It's not like that. It doesn't treat the
It doesn't.
audience dumb as it does
I don't
the
think.
stupid at all.
Yeah, unlike Nolan, because look, I just defend my boy Nolan, but Nolan just fall into the bullshit trap sometime, right? It at no point this felt
Yeah, as a fan of Nolan, I would
yeah,
agree.
yeah. I know. At no point this felt pretentious. It didn't feel like it was trying to be smarter than you or anything like that. What it felt, to me, this had a good sense of chaos, right? You have that much money involved, and you can understand why everybody and their mother want to come for it, right? Exactly. Once you invite that kind of that level of incentive, it just get wild. That make perfect sense, and everything worked out. Bill Duke had a great line. He said, "I don't want that money; it's too expensive." I love that.
Yeah.
Bill Duke's character is so good at this. Like
Yeah,
he
Bill
makes
Bill Bill
like,
Duke, man. Bill Duke
yeah.
is the OG, man.
But why say, look, I don't want our money, that money is too expensive. That's a great line because like he understand the fuckery. He understand that shit can get out of hand fast. Loved it. Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah,
me, 9 out of
yeah.
10, last one. Yeah.
Right. So we've gushed over this movie enough, guys. You all need to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't
Uh,
let the old school look of it fool you, Dread. This is a great film. Definitely
yeah.
seek this one out. And from one great film to another, because yes, this is basically gonna be a trilogy of great films here. Let's talk about Pigman. Well, if you don't mind, I'll just do the synopsis, right? So,
Sure.
this is the debut feature from Michael Sarnoski, right?
Good.
This is the first time of hearing of him and his work and whatnot. But hell of a way to get your career up and running, Jed, because
Yeah, for
you get the man himself,
yeah. Yeah.
Nicholas Cage, to be in your debut feature, Jed. And just to jump into the story one time, right? So he plays the character of Robin, right? They call him Rob for short, right? And he is a truffle forager, right? But
Right.
he lives like deep in the forest and whatnot. You know what I mean? He's a recluse basically, right? So he's always to himself, right? Well, I would say the only companionship he has is a pig, right? A very very cute looking pig, I must say, though, right?
Right.
And what
Yeah.
they do is just basically, yeah, they search for truffles, and this young guy by the name of Amir, he shows up. By the way, he's played by Alex Wolff. I
Yeah.
didn't even know that he was in this movie as well, right? But yeah, he
Yeah,
shows up.
it take me a hot minute. I was like, hey, I don't know boy who get your neck breaking the end of that movie there. Like I would.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So he shows up every week because the idea is that yeah, you know what I mean. They're selling truffles. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, in the chef in
Restaurant,
the
restaurant.
restaurant
Restaurant.
world, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
of Portland or Oregon. Yeah, so basically, you know what I mean, he's just selling that. That's how he makes his money, right? And well, we learned that Amir is actually the son of this famous restaurant owner who has his business in Portland, Oregon, and it's what we learn later on that he's really trying to do his best to to make his father proud now, but his father kind of treats him like shit, and then he himself, what I mean, just trying so desperately to be liked and be recognized and be respected that to the point he just kind of comes off like he just trying a little too hard now. But all that aside, though, everything seems to be normal for Rob, right? We learn a little bits of who he is, how he goes across his day to day, a bit of his past that comes up in the end. That's all we'll see. But then, like one night, by somebody just comes in and steals his pig. He gets knocked out in the process, and Rob, being the guy that he is, he just like proceeds on this quest basically to find his pig, right? But it goes deeper than that though, because in the process
Right.
he runs into Amir, and he decides to help him out too now. But basically it's just kind of them just forming this sort of weird buddy relationship now. They learn a lot about each other, they learn a lot about life, and well, especially for a guy like Rob, we kind of understand why he's a recluse that he is. We understand why he kind of got off the grid, basically, right? So to speak. But we also get to see a side of the restaurant industry that
Right.
nobody really sees. Then we really kind of see a bit of like the dark side of that
Right.
particular town, and you can kind of understand why Rob, left it basically, right? And then you
Right.
also understand in a sense why he's so determined to get his pig back, right? So just to jump into to my thoughts one time, right? So upon first glance, like even I myself was just there, like, all right, this I know this isn't John Wick, right? But it have the inklings that it could be like a John Wick, right? Not just because of the fact of an animal involved, right? And
Right.
this
Right.
sort of recluse individual who we don't know much about, and then when something like that happens, that's when he snaps, and that's when you really see who he is, right? But it's really because of the guy who's front and center, Nicolas Cage, right? Because I mean, love or hate the
Right.
guy. You know what I mean?
I was.
He delivers these
I.
intense performances. Sometimes
Yeah.
they're laughable. Sometimes they just really
Right.
catch you off guard. But
I.
when he doesn't just pick up a performance, he doesn't pick a safe, easy performance at all. You know when he brings it,
Right.
it's gonna be intense now because it's Nicolas Cage, right? You know what I mean? Not my eyes, not the bees, right? We know that, right?
No,
But
but
yes,
I was expecting. I was expecting Mandy. Right. I was expecting something like that. That was I was thinking. I was like,
you were
oh,
expecting what? Sorry.
Mandy.
Yes. Because Mandy, yeah,
Right.
also sent us on a guy in the woods, and something
Right.
happened to
Right.
his wife, and
So
he
I was
just
thinking.
goes off
I
now.
was thinking. And then I heard the guy was like this first time filmmaker kind of thing. So I'm like, oh, okay, I could understand why it is that people would like first time filmmakers tend to be sorry to say it, very rarely first time filmmakers are great. He's one of the exceptions, but this dude, I was expecting something straightforward and normal, and I was expecting Mandy, but like more realistic Mandy instead of less psychedelic. That's what I was expecting. So then the story takes a really strange turn. I was like, oh, okay, this works too. Great. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So yes, I mean, just off of the premise, or bits of the premise, so I should say like how the first act kind of plays out, and just because of the lead himself there, you will go in expecting this story to play out a certain way, right? Expect that by the time he reaches to Portland, Nicolas Cage's character is gonna be breaking bones and he's gonna grab a gun
Right,
and shoot a guy. Expecting that now, but it's
right,
not that actually. It is a rather somber look at just a guy who just deals with loss in his own way, and it's just how he's so emotionally detached from everyone now. You kind of understand throughout the film why he is the way he is, right? And there's almost the sense that this Amir guy, who at first you could, when you first meet, you could tell they don't have a strong relationship at all. You kind of
right.
understand, I mean, how they kind of bounce off each other and learn from each other. So just to get this out of the way, this is a truly impressive debut, one of the best debut
Yeah.
films I've seen in a long while, and I have to buy into the hype though. Forgive me for jumping on the hype train, guys, but yes, this is hands down one of the best films of the year. I'll
Right.
explain why in a bit, right? Before we get to your thoughts, Ricardo,
Yeah,
right?
no,
So
if it wasn't for if it wasn't for No Sudden Move, this is would have been my favorite film of the year. It's very close second.
ah,
Yeah,
okay, it's
yeah,
a
yeah,
close second.
yeah.
All right.
Right,
I wouldn't put it up there as a top five as yet though, but like
right.
no such move. I want to give this a second viewing, right? Because yeah, this is one that's gonna reward you even more with more viewings, right? So what I dug though is the unconventionality of the story, right? It does not play out at all the way it does, and I don't want to spoil how or why, right? But it doesn't,
Right.
right? Nicolas Cage though, I've never seen him this reserved in my life though, and
Yeah,
I
that's
like
why
the
it was.
fact
Yeah,
that it's like the complete opposite to like admittedly a performance that I hated from him. That was Willy's Wonderland, where I felt like he
right.
was just too reserved. Like he just didn't say anything. He was just kind of like literally he does not say a word, right?
Yeah,
And he's just doing the same thing, just over and over and over and over and over. And the joke is, ha, it's Nicolas Cage doing it. That's a joke, ha.
right,
But
right.
this
Yeah,
case is like, no, this feels like someone who has dealt with loss now, and like probably felt like this was the only way I could do it, and you could understand why he would form this bond with this pig, right? And I love how the film doesn't portray it as some sort of Disney Beeb esque kind of thing, like oh my lord, oh my god, I'm
right,
so in love with this. It's like you
right.
understand the guy who he is. He's basically like playing old man Cage basically, right? He's just on his own right now. He just doesn't need anything much. He's just kind of surviving off the land basically, right? And then this thing happens now, and now he has to go back into the world, and it's just how he looks at the world and how people look at him and all that kind of stuff now. And that totally worked for me. Um, I didn't expect, like, at first I wasn't really liking Alex Wolfer's character, but through time as they started to develop his character, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I
that's why he is. That's
right.
why
I thought
that's why he is that way now. I mean, he's not
yeah,
an
I really
asshole just because.
yeah. I didn't think he would have been that central to the plot as well. I was like, oh, okay, he did this with him and the dad, and okay, okay, that works.
Yeah, yeah.
See,
And well, one thing though, the direction is strong in this too. There's some
yeah,
great shots, like especially like in the first act, like when they were in the
yeah,
where we're in the forest, basically some gorgeous cinematography and direction there. There's even like just a moment with him in Amir's car, and they're driving to the destination, and you're just seeing like 3 or 4 images be superimposed, though, and it's done in sort of like hazy psychedelic way. I was like, so this robot, though, like, I would have never thought about showing the passage of time, you know what I mean? Especially in a
yeah,
nocturnal setting like that. And it's so simple and it worked, though, you know what I mean? It totally worked. The music is decent as well. I mean, it doesn't stick out so as much as it should, though, but it's there and it comes in when it needs to, though. The supporting cast is great as well. I did expect to see Adam Arkin in it as well too.
right, right.
Um, and well,
That
I would say like his character though, and what he adds his story boy. I was like, wow, okay, well,
yeah, the city the restaurant I also loved.
yes, yes, yes. It's a
Yeah,
great
it's a
restaurant scene
great moment. Yeah,
involving a chef, and all we just see
yes,
it involves what he could have done with his life, and it's just
right.
like Robin just kind of telling him like, dude, like, what are you
Yeah,
doing with your life, bro? Like, what are
yeah,
you
yeah,
doing? It is
yeah.
so brutal though, but at the same time, kind of uplifted in a sense, and that's
Right.
that's how I could see how I could really describe this movie. It's dark and it's grim and solemn and sad in a sense, but it also has a bit of heart. It has a lot of heart, sorry, and it's kind
Yeah,
of uplifting in a sense too, and
it's a
and that's
yeah,
in
it's a
particular with the climax and the ending of the film, right? Because
right.
like what at least I won't lie to you, Ricardo, like when it end, I was like, all right, that's the end, okay, but it's like when I started thinking about it, it's like,
Yeah,
oh, that's what they're going for, right? So
yeah,
what I would say in a nutshell, without spoiling it, is it's really again how we deal with loss and just the mere fact that yes, loss is a part of life, but at the end of the day, and I can attest to this, is your life and you have to keep living, right? And
yeah,
the final shot of this perfectly sums this up though. So yes, this is very unconventional. For some people, they might just be like, I don't know, like why win again a John Wick film? Why win again a Mandy film? Why win again, Nicolas Cage going ape shit because it's Nicolas
right.
Cage, man. But it's not that though. And just to touch on Nick Cage quickly, um, this is one of the best performances he's ever
And
given in his career, Dread.
yeah,
And this is coming
yeah.
from somebody who has not even followed up on all of his films, right? Like, I would admit, I still haven't watched Leaving Las Vegas. I know he won an Oscar for that. I know, but I still haven't seen it. I hear he was great
Okay,
in that. I hear he was
okay,
great in, Bringing Out the Dead, you know what I mean, from Scorsese. I know the man has put out great roles over the years, I know, but because of pop culture, we always tend to attribute him with the Vampire's Kiss and the Con Airs and the what it is about the Wicker Mans, you know what I mean, where it's just
right,
so hammy now. Like, look, just last year I was complaining about his role, or sorry, the role, the film that he was in, that was Jujitsu, right? But here though, well, I mean, say what you want about his choices, but the man commits to his performances. That's always said. This one here, he commits. I'm glad
yeah,
that he was actually given lines to say as opposed to Willy's Wonderland, you know what I mean? And you really get the sense of, all right, I may come off as socially awkward, but the more you understand me, the more you'll understand why I'm so weird. You know what I mean? It's not quirky
right,
weird, but it's just like bushman weird. You know what I mean? Like I'm just
right,
like a mountain man weird. That's what it is. Like he's like, yes, the best mountain man character I've ever seen in film, in my opinion. But yeah, though, his performance was Oscar worthy though. I would love it if he actually gets nominated for this though, but I don't know. I kind of doubt it given the low budget quote unquote nature of the film itself. But I would love to see if he could
right.
get a nom for this at least, because man, the
Yeah,
game for
maybe.
so long, man. I mean, give him his flowers. You know what I mean, whatever, right? But yeah, Just to wrap things up for me though, yeah, this is really unconventional. It's really strange actually and weird, but in all the right ways. Just weird and strange in the sense that it's not your ordinary film. Like I've never seen a film about a truffle forager, be going into the dark world of, Portland looking for a pig, you know what I
Right.
mean? And the
Yeah.
show just commits it without being hammy, without being over the top, without winking the camera and saying, it's a joke. Get it? Because Nicolas Cage looking for a pig.
Right.
No, it
Right.
plays it serious enough. But it does have little moments of humor here or there as well too. You know, so it's not all gloom and doom, but it's really the theme of love and loss too, and just how we all deal with it. Though that's what really stuck with me with that one. But so yeah, Ricardo, thoughts on Pig?
Yeah, yeah. As I say, if it wasn't for No Sudden Move, this would have been my favorite film of the year so far. I absolutely love this. Great somber performance by Cage. He bounces off with Alex Wolf really well. Like Alex Wolf, you just kind of forget Alex Wolf is like just 23. Like yeah, he and Cage had great chemistry with each other. They bunk, yeah. The story goes in interesting places because again, I was still thinking it's gonna have some weirdness because when they got into the I don't know if this is a spoiler, but underground fighting scene. I thought, oh, he's an underground fighter or some bullshit like that. Nope. Like it's different, it's a different story, but it all
Yeah,
of that weirdness and it goes all over the place. And it's just an interesting character piece on the part of Cage. And I thought Cage was great in this. The only issue is that the was no problem with it. I had a problem with it. I was trying to think. I just think I find it was a little on the anticlimactic end of what happened in the ending, but like again, it all makes sense, and I think it just didn't scratch it just no sound move scratch, so I felt um
mm,
it just didn't, it just ended a little slowly, but and I was like
yeah. I
because
can understand. Like it doesn't
right.
have like it's emotional, but it doesn't have that gut punch to like yeah, you
Right.
really wanted, you know.
Right. But I was expecting a like because it started off as a like a dark comedy almost, right? That's what it felt like. But and again, because of my bias towards Nick Cage as a person, and then it's like, oh, it turned into this real serious drama later. But no, it was just kind of a drama the whole thing through. It's just my biases and expectations of Nicolas Cage. I'm expecting Mandy, expecting color out of the outer space, that kind of stuff, right? But we didn't get that. Just surprisingly somber experience. Everything grounded. Everything is explained for what it is, and that's it. And yeah, I still really loved it for what it was. Yeah, for me, I'll give it like a 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. Just really dug it for what it
All right, all right. Well, for me, I'm gonna give this a very light 4.5 out of 5, man. There's already a lot of hype around this film, though, and I know for some people you might be like, well, is it really worth it though? Like it's just a guy looking for a pig. Like I mean, come on, man. Like there's been Oscar winning films that had better narratives than that. But no, folks, this one is its own thing. You know what I mean? It does its own thing. It goes deep the way it should. You know what I mean? Like it really goes out of its way to be something unique, right? While feeling rather familiar as well. Especially, I mean, if you're a pet owner, I mean, you should definitely
is. Right.
relate to this, right? Definitely, right? As I am actually, but yeah, well, for me, really, what sunk with me was just again the topic of love and loss to it. Just how well that's loss in general. Just how we deal with it, right? Even right down to having a pet and hoping that compensates, right? So it really hit me in a way that I didn't expect to, and just that final shot though was just so
Yeah.
simple and like deeply uplifting in my opinion, man. So yes, folks, this is the real deal. It probably would be for everyone though because of the slow burn vibe of it though, but I would say yeah, this is one that you really need to see for this year, man. This one is up there, man. This I could see this making it to like top 10 for sure for the year, man. So yeah, definitely check out Pick. And last but not least, as far as shows that y'all should not overlook, let me just talk about Zola. Um, this is a movie that I was hearing about from since last year, though, but then when the trailer dropped earlier this year, I believe it was, I
Right.
was like, all right, I need to check this out, right? And,
Right.
it's from my boys E24, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yes, I've got my E24 fix for the year.
Yeah. I didn't.
Yes.
I didn't. I didn't see this, but I knew the story. It was an insane Twitter thread. That is what I know.
All right. Well, I will confess, I didn't even know about that story until
Right.
that trailer dropped and they say it's based
Right.
on, this
Yeah.
famous Twitter thread and this
Yeah, that's
Rolling
what
Stone
that's
article there.
exactly. That's what I remember. Yeah, go
Right,
ahead.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So as I said, there's just now it's based off of this Twitter thread and Rolling Stone article, right? So it's centered on real life person, Azia King, right, or Zola as she calls herself, right? In this case, she is played brilliantly, I should say, by Taylor Page, right? Last time I
Right,
saw her was in Marini's Black Bottle. She was the one that
right, right. Yeah,
Chadwick Boseman's character was like real eyeing down a bit, you know what I mean?
right, 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 right.
I don't blame it because I mean
Yeah,
as this show really goes off out of its way to show Taylor is she fine, man. She
yeah, yeah,
fine, man. She real
yeah.
fine. No lie. On God, she real fine, right? But yeah, basically what it is that she was I should say a waitress, right? This is all set in Detroit, by the way. And ever so often, you know what I mean, if she had to pay some bills, she will do a little stripping on the end, right? On the side, right? So one casual day, she just runs into Stefani, right, who is played by Kylie Q. If I got the name wrong, forgive me, right? Um, who is a stripper as well, right? And she like more ratchet. Like that's the funny thing about this show. She is a white girl and she's like more ratchet. Like go out of her way to be more ratchet, talk more black than Zola ever
Right,
does in
right,
the film, right? So yeah, they just become quick friends, and she's just like, hey, you know what I mean? We go into to Florida, we're just doing this show for one night. We just hit to this club, and we're gonna make X amount of cash. This is my boyfriend. This is Derek, who's played by Nicholas Braun. I didn't even know that he was in the show. I was like, all right, yeah, you in this, right? And then, well, her friend, who is played by Coleman Domingo, he's also from Marini's Black Bottom. He played Cutler. I was like, oh
right,
yeah, yeah, you in this
right,
too. But like,
right.
again, I just forgot that it was that guy, right? But yeah, um, I won't say who his character's name is because, like, in the credits, he's called Exter, you know what I mean? But there's a there's a reason why when he actually reveals what his name is, it's probably one of the funniest moments in the movie, right? But yeah, all that aside, dude, is like, all right, well, this is my boyfriend, this is my friend, well, sort of manager in a sense. So we're going down to Florida, right? So they do their thing, right? And then Stephanie, while the show going on, Stephanie's like taking pics and all that kind of stuff now, right?
Right,
And just like, well, we why you taking pics for? It's like, we here at this club, we having fun, right? You know what I mean? Shaking ass and tits and all that kind of stuff, right? And then afterwards, X dropped this bombshell now. Well, basically, it kind of starts off, I don't want to spoil too much, where kind of Stephanie seeing she had to do this job, right? She have to go and service this client, basically, right? We just for like about 50 minutes, whatever it is, she get paid and that's it, right? And then the bombshell is dropped now. X basically kind of comes off now as, yeah, I'm basically Stefani's pimp, right?
right,
So the job really is just for her to just make all this cash in one night. So yeah, she's just gonna hit all these clients. But I should say before that really, Zola just to kind of help her out because Stephanie keeps saying I have a kid, I have a kid, I have a kid. So Zola's like, all right, here's what, right? We're gonna use, well, basically it was this app, this now defunct app called Backpage,
right,
right?
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a thing. Yeah,
that was a
big.
thing. That
Yeah,
was a thing.
that was
Hmm.
a thing. That was a thing. Yeah,
Yeah. So basically, yeah, that's how she used to get her clients, right? But Zola kind of find a way to kind of get more clients, right, in one night, right? So things hit off. So X is like, all right, cool. So use basically like my assistant pimp in a sense, right? But at the same time, I should let you all know this. Zola just kind of finds herself in this trap because no, she does not want to be a part of this at all. She just wanted
right,
to do the dancing, and that was it. Now she trapped in this thing with this guy, and it's like basically if she leaves, she gets killed, right? So yeah, we just basically following Zola and Stefani as she's just doing all these jobs and whatnot, and it gets more and more dangerous and more sleazy as the nights follow, right? And Derek now he just can't handle it at all. And he's just like kind of freaking out about it because like my girlfriend doing all this kind of stuff now, you know what I mean? But at the heart of it all is all about Zola and just how she's dealing with all this insanity. And I'll stop here, right? So yes, folks, the premise for this and just how they play it off though is every bit as dark and just really what makes this work though is the approach, the darkly comic approaches. Because yeah, this
Right,
is essentially a black comedy, and for me, there's no other way the show could have played out at all. It just had to be that way,
right,
right? Um, 'cause this is some really incredibly dark material. Like, but darkly says that it could happen to anyone. You know what I mean? If just to be cliche, but yeah, this is so like something that could easily happen to somebody in a sense, you know what I mean? But I like the fact that they kind of play it off like at first you think it is this kind of like crazy road trip, like, oh yeah, we're going to Florida and gonna wild out and make money and all kind of stuff there, and then it just like boom, when that bombshell hit, is like, oh shit, okay.
yeah,
And you just kind of take it, all right, well, it's just all the sex stuff basically, but it gets dark from that point though. And even in the dark moments, there's like this moments of humor thread. So let's talk about the performances for a bit though. So I mean, yes, I praise the looks of Taylor Page though, but acting wise, I thought that she was great here though. She really shines here.
yeah,
Some great voiceover stuff, and you really do buy into her predicament basically and just how she had to deal with it, right? Riley Keough, I thought that she was great as well. Like at first, she just came off like the annoying, what I mean, wannabe ratchet, bad
right,
Barbie-ish kind of character, white girl. But
right.
when you learn more about it, it's like wow, like
It
she
pick up,
just
yeah,
yeah, like she is in this trap still though. So even though she's fronting and acting that kind of way, you kind of understand, given the nature of the show, why she have to do that, right? Nicholas Braun though, who plays Derek. If I just have like this a minor gripe though, I didn't really quite feel his character though, because I felt like he came off a little too much, not so much like a man child, but more like, all right, I just really don't know how to respond to situations. So I'm trying to be aggressive. I'm trying to be angry, but it just comes off painfully awkward, which I guess is the point of the character, though. And you see it happen in certain moments, though, where it's like he just trying to be like trying to tell his girlfriend, no, I don't want you doing this, though. But this comes off like, dog, like why are you trying to be so hard? And everybody keep telling that, why you trying to be so hard? But there's a little subplot involving like how he's just so obsessed with like TikTok videos, right? Well, it's okay, so it's pre-TikTok, right? Basically, it's like
right,
I
right.
think it's like more IG
It's
videos
Vine.
that he watched, right? Yeah,
Well, it has
is
Vine.
yes, it was Vine videos. Wow, wow,
Yeah,
I forgot about
it has Vine.
Vine. I
Yeah,
forgot about Vine. Yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
he's just obsessed over Vine videos, though, and you can kind of understand why. You know what I mean? But that's all I'll say.
yeah,
And one thing the show does very well, though, it shows the just how addicted we are to social media,
right,
how addicted we are to Twitter, right? So ever so often you will always hear these Twitter pings. You know what I mean? You'll literally see characters mouth out the text that they send out through Facebook, right? So it just really shows how overly dependent we are on social media now. And then
right,
like, just to feel like you belong. So it's like, I mean, yeah, I'm having fun and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's stuff that us millennials is kind of, critique, Gen Zers for, though, but it's a real thing. It's a real, real, real thing, though. But I also like that the show does not spend so much time shoving that down your throat. Like, is that old people tell you, oh, social media is bad and this is why, because, it just kind of cuts off human interaction. It's not that type of show, right? Nor is it a show kind of telling you, oh, well, the dangers of the internet, right? This is not cyberbully. This is not mechanism missing, right? Kids actually
right,
parents. This is something totally different. It's just like, okay, this is so unbelievable. I know, but it happened. It happened because we're telling you it happened, right? And it's not so much like this could happen to you, but this is like the reality of things, right? And that's one thing I really praise the show for. This kind of sheds a light on this the dark side of what you would see in terms of, well, for lack of a better term, the sex industry, right?
right,
From stripping to actually doing sexual acts and whatnot, right? It really does shine a light on that, yeah. Because at first you just think it, well, it's because you have looks and you want money fast and all that kind of thing, but it goes way deep than that, right? And in no way is this movie like preaching to you and saying this is why you shouldn't be a stripper or a sex worker, blah blah blah. It's just this is the scenario and this is what happened, right? And yeah, there were moments where I was like, wait, this really did happen though.
yeah,
Like it's not
yeah,
too fantastical or overly impossible, but still how things play out, it was just like, wow, boy, like That's how it is, wait. Jeez, you know, it's crazy like that though. But really, it's Taylor and Riley who hold this film down though. And points for Coleman Domingo though. There's a reveal of his character that is both dark and messed up and funny as hell at the same time. I was just like, all right, you sold it to me. You sold it to me. Because he is a scumbag, Trent, but he is
Right.
just so laughable and so over the top. No, it's just like, yeah, you know, he reminds me a lot like, oh gosh, and this show itself reminds me a lot too of Spring Breakers, right?
Right.
Which I
Right.
remember
Yeah, that
hailing
was
as
the
one of my favorite
yeah.
guilty pleasure films of the 2010s there. And well, fun fact, actually a lot of people have praised it as one of the best movies of the 2010s, and I don't believe them at all, right? The praise is much easier. But you know, at first glance, you kind of watch it like, wow, this is kind of glorifying sex and, you know what I mean,
Right.
teenagers, party and all that kind of stuff. But no, folks, it goes way deeper than that. That's the point. It's the allure of it, right? And that's what it showed. No, that's what Zola does very well as well. As well, it and you know it makes sense why you have a female director involved. So this is
Yeah.
Janicza Bravo. And yeah, it totally makes sense to have a woman helm this because if a guy did this, I felt like he probably would have probably indulged a little too much in the stripping
Well,
scenes. Basically,
you don't know.
I
I
felt
mean,
he would have gone a little too far there.
yeah, there's a kind of weird argument about if we have a kind of double standard for that. Like, remember with Cuties is a female director, and everybody
Yeah,
still kind of come down on she for it. Halfway up. I still not that.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, but I personally think though, you know, it makes perfect sense that a woman will helm this. So, because even in like you know the stripping scenes, as you know, alluring as they are visually, you could tell like there's a sense of all right, you know, the male like okay, I would say the male gaze. You know, what I mean, it's like that. There's
Right,
not
right, right,
that much male gaze in this film at all, though. And you know they kind of subvert that a lot. I'm not gonna say how, but you will see it, right? You'll see the female gaze the worst times of the film, especially when it comes to you know to men, right? Especially well naked men, right? That's all I'll say, right? But yeah, though, how she handles these moments were done very well, though. It's shot very well. It has that film green look to it too,
right,
which I felt like alluded to, you know, 70s and 80s grindhouse films. You know, like I would say, like not comparing this to those films, but you know, for lack of better terms, you know, these sort of like low budget sort of porn films of those eras that you read this like this
right,
sleazy films, right? That used to show in, you know, like schlocky films that used to show around that era, basically, right? It feels like it's not like so much paying tribute to those films, but just kind of capturing the vibe of those, right? So like even like when you see the opening title of Zola, it feels like you're watching some 70s skin flick or whatever it is, you know what I mean? The music I thought was great as well. This guy, Michael Levy, I didn't even know he was working on this. If you remember, he did
right,
the score for Under the Skin, right? You know,
right,
he does this great sort of nocturnal synth music as well. But what he does well is that he incorporates like these trap drums now. So it has the feel of like watching some sleazy 80s flick. But the trap music in the background now make it feel very contemporary as well too. So I thought that was like a nice choice. And there's a few artistic moments. That's all I'll see as far as like editing and visuals and sound design and all kind of stuff. I know for some people they might just kind of watch this like all right, well, it doesn't need to be that way though. Like I know it's E24 and you know they have a standard met as far as artistic films for commercial consumption goes, right? But you know, it could kind of feel at times for some viewers, not for me, like, all right, like we really need this shot though, we really need this
right,
visual, we really need this. Like it could express it some other way, but I was like, all right, this is the director, this is her vision, this is how she sees it. So I guess for me, like for me personally, like if I watch this film again, which I do intend to, moments like that would make sense. But I know for some they might just kind of watch like, oh, this is some kind of artsy film disguised as some stripper film. You know what I mean? It's a woke film, that kind of thing, right? I'm not even gonna get into that argument though. It tells a story. It doesn't even stay that long. It runs for like roughly an hour, 25 minutes. And it just entertains throughout though. And just lastly, before I get to reading, if I just have another gripe though, I felt like the ending could have been a lot stronger. Without spoiling it, this kind of stops like yeah, that's just how it goes. The end,
Right.
right?
Right.
But
Right.
because I'm not familiar with the story itself, like I still feel like there was more like we wanted to see like a denouement as to what happened afterwards. Just like, well,
Yeah.
the end, right? Which I guess, which kind of makes sense given, like the whole vibe of the film. Like, again, like, oh, well, this is the reality, folks. It's not gonna go anywhere anytime soon. But still, we could have gotten a stronger ending. But for what it would do, I really enjoyed this though. Um, this was thoroughly entertaining though. Taylor Page, she shined throughout all of this though. It's very, very, very funny as well too, but in a dark way. So um I would say, we go in just prepare for, some sleazy, NSFW, content and subject matter though. But
Right. Yeah.
again, that's just the will of this show here. That's what they're presenting. It's based off of a real life incident. So what you see here is exactly what you're gonna get here, right? So that's what
Right.
it is.
Right. Right.
So for me, rating wise, I'm gonna give this a decent to a strong 4 out of 5, man.
Right.
I don't quite see it yet as a best of as yet. But this is one I feel, what I mean, just like with No Sudden Move, with more views, I'm gonna be like, yeah, this have to be there. But this certainly lived up to the hype because there was a lot of hypes around this film. Though a lot of people gave it praise, and I was just waiting for it to actually come out on VOD though, because it came out theatrically a while back, and I was just like, well, when are we gonna see it? And it finally, like, literally came out yesterday, time it's recording here, so I'm glad. But yeah, I do honestly recommend that you give it a look though. Just once again, just know what you're gonna get yourself into. If you're not into, content that's sleazy and salacious, you won't really like it. Um, but still though, because of just how outrageous the story is and how real it is when you really think about it, that will stick with you long after the movie wraps up. So yeah, by all means, definitely check out Zola, man.